So now we move on to A Course in Miracles, text chapter 29, The Awakening. Vital understanding. Dream roles. The roles that we play in the dream. Dream roles. So I love the analogy by Rupert Spira. John Smith is an actor and he's on stage acting as King Lear. And King Lear is really distraught because of his relationship with his daughters. And once the act is over, John Smith's sitting in the back of the stage, his changing room, and he's really sort of upset and angry with the world. And his friend Paul comes up to him and says, what's wrong with you? No, I'm really upset. My daughters are really misbehaving. And he says, hang on, John, what daughters? You don't have a daughter. You're a single dude. No, my daughters, my 3 daughters. He says, but hang a second. You're John Smith. You're not King Lear. And John Smith goes, of course, I was just acting. You're just acting. And what are you acting on? As the person you think you are. But you're not that. The essence of you, spirit, made from the extension of God, as an extension of God, which is spirit. Holy Spirit, the essence of you, Holy Spirit. Asleep, the dreamer. Awake, the Christ. You're acting as you. Remember your true self. Remember the dreamer. Don't identify with the actor. The actor is the dream. You are the dreamer. You are the Christ. And this is a vital understanding. And this is why so many people have been studying the Course for 20, 30 years and are still struggling with what? Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. What is the purpose of this Course? To mend all relationships with your fractured selves. To heal all relationships with the appearance of others, which are fractures of yourself. Fractures of yourself that you've pushed away, denounced, denied, and see yourself as a localization, a lonely localization. Unaware that you're a localization of the same dreaming mind, which has localized all 8 billion of us on this planet right now. And so what we try and do is we try and hang on to the juicy fun bits, and we want to let go of all illusion. If you want to awaken from the dream, you can't hang on to anything. And remember, I'm saying this again. You're not giving up anything. You're not sacrificing anything. You're no longer attached to it. It's a gentle non-attachment. You're observing without attachment. You participate without attachment, without expectation. You don't stop living. You don't stop working. You're just no longer attached to the role and the identity of what you thought your job was. Do you believe that the truth can be but some illusions? This is what we all try and do. We want to know ourselves, we want to know God, but we want to play in the world. You need to be prepared to let it all go. Now, please realize that. It doesn't mean you're going to stop having fun or experiencing intimacy or experiencing joy or just the opposite. You're going to end up with a happy dream. You're going to exchange your dream of separation, suffering, fear, guilt, sin, struggling, and it's going to become happier, lighter. And if something should bother you, then you'll recognize almost instantly when you're in that non-dual awareness that it's showing you an unforgiven thought. And what happens is the way you perceive changes, the way you react changes. So you don't act from a place of pain. You don't react from a place of defensiveness. You see something and you realize it's a forgiveness opportunity. Everything becomes an opportunity to release yourself from the bondage of the idea of separation, the idea of sin, the idea of guilt, and then the fear that comes with guilt and sin, which is of a punishment by some vengeful thing that created you. So do you believe that the truth can be but some illusion? They are dreams because they are not true. Their equal lack of truth becomes the basis for the miracle, which means that you have understood that dreams are dreams, and that escape depends not on the dream, but only on awakening. And awaking means knowing yourself as that which dreams. Could it be that some dreams are kept and others are awakened from? That's what the spiritual world wants, the trapped in magic spiritual world wants. They want to know God. They want to be awakened. They want to be able to create miracles, heal everybody, and draw attention by it as well. That's unfortunately what comes with it. They want to go around healing others, be so spiritual. And then they still want the romantic love relationship because they don't realize they love. So they're still needing love from somewhere else. Can you imagine you come into holy companionship where you love everybody equally, but you resonate with someone who just walks alongside you. You walk each other home. There's no need from each other. But the intimacy could still be there. Why not? You don't have to give it up. You can share a home. You can share a space. You can travel together. You can enjoy destinations together. You can do things together. You could start a business together. There's no need to give anything up. You're just no longer attached to it. And most importantly, you're not identified with it or identified with the body. It's not who you think you are. It's you know what you are. The choice is not between which dreams to keep, but only if you want to live in dreams or awaken from them. Thus it is. The miracle does not select some dreams to leave untouched by its benefits. You cannot dream some dreams and wake from some. For you are either sleeping or you are awake. And dreaming goes with only one of these. You only dream when you are asleep, not realizing what you are. There's no benefit at all in dreaming. The dreams that you think you like will hold you back as much as those in which the fear is seen. Because imagine you had the perfect romantic dream, the perfect fantasy. You'd be so trapped by it, you wouldn't realize you're still dreaming. Or every dream is but a dream of fear. Why do you want a romantic dream, a fantasy dream? Because you fear what comes after. You fear what you want the fantasy for. Because you want the fantasy from, sorry. So you fear suffering, you fear loneliness, you fear desolation, you fear suffering, you fear punishment, you fear guilt. So you imagine a fantasy. Why? Because you avoid the fear. So every dream is but a dream to mask the fear, and therefore it's a dream of fear. It's a dream that wants to replace the resistance of what you think you are and what you think you're experiencing. Every dream is but a dream of fear, no matter what the form it seems to take, including a romantic love relationship. Because what does the romantic love relationship replace? It replaces the emptiness of the fractured self, which is feared. And where's that emptiness of the fractured self? Where is the fear of that emptiness? The fear is seen within, without, or both, and both. It's seen in the world, it's seen in yourself. You hate the idea of yourself as a body-mind. That body-mind, as much as you want to live, you hate the idea of it. Or it can be disguised in a pleasant form. And now you take lots of photographs and you post them on Facebook and on Instagram. Look at me, pose, pose, pose. Look at my muscles. Look at my beautiful whatever. But it is never absent. But it is never absent from the dream. For fear is the material of dream. The entire dream, the entire universe exists in the substrata, the filters of fear. And if you would take those filters away, what would the substrata be? Because that is the truth. Pure light. But the minute you're asleep, what is still pure light is seen as dark. Even the worst emotion, hatred, dread, shamefulness, suicidal thoughts, anguish, even those thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations are actually love, filtered through the idea of anguish, fear, suicide, hate. The idea of it, the idea, the perception that hides the light from knowing itself as what it is, light, the love of God. It is never absent from the dream, for fear is the material of dreams, from which they are all made. And yet, what is it? What's the truth of it? It's all the extension, the creation of God, light. Their form can change, but they cannot be made of something else. The miracle were treacherous indeed if it allowed you to still be afraid because you did not recognize the fear. The purpose of the miracle is to expose the fact that you're dreaming. That's what the miracle does. It exposes the content of the dream. It exposes it, makes you realize what appeared to be people, places, things, events, space, time, matter is actually misperceived light. You would not then be willing to awake, for which the miracle prepares the way. And so that's exactly why the miracle has to expose the illusion. In its simplest form, it can be said attack is a response to function unfulfilled as you perceive the function. So whatever you believe the body should do and whatever you believe other bodies should do, what the world should be, when it's unfulfilled in your belief of what it should be, you get angry and you attack it. You attack it as resistance, you attack it as criticism, or you attack it physically or verbally. It can be in you or in someone else, because you either attack yourself or you attack the world, and you're always only attacking the self. But where it is perceived, there it will be, and there it is attacked. So you're attacking it where you perceive it should be, and where you perceive it should act in a different way. Depression or assault must be the theme of every dream. So either you're depressed or you're attacking, for they are made of fear. The belief in fear, in actual fact. The thin disguise of pleasure and joy in which they may be wrapped, but slightly veils the heavy lump of fear that is their core. If you ask most people, if you were to split it into percentages, how much of your life has been pleasure and joy? Think about it for a second. How much of your life, if you were to add all your years that you've lived and put all those joyous moments into minutes, into hours, into days, how much of your life would you say has been pleasure and joy? 10%? 20%? Are you one of those few fortunates? 30% of your life was joy? Maybe those first 10 years or 15 years. Are you that lucky that 50% of your life has been joyous bliss? 80%. If that's the case, what are you doing here? Or has most of your life, has at least 70 to 80% of your life been a hard struggle? It's been painful. It's been hard. It's been suffering. It's been harsh. And it seemed to get harder the older you get. And yet what keeps us wanting more? Dreaming of our next fantasy, hoping for our next special love relationship, or next special job, or more money, or more whatever we think we need. The hope of pleasure, the hope of joy. And yet this course has given you that you know that you are. Because pleasure and pain, same thing. You don't seek for pleasure no more. Because when you are joyous, that is the greatest pleasure in the world. What more do you want than to be thyself knowingly, joyously, peacefully, lovingly? What more would you want for? And when you know that self is the true essence of what you are, what more could you want for? Because it's all you have ever wanted, and it's all that you've ever been, changelessly, eternally, as the perfect Son of God. I love this line, in which they may be wrapped, but slightly veils the heavy lump of fear that is at their core, 80% of their dream. And it is this the miracle perceives, and not the wrapping in which it's bound. And the minute the miracle perceives it, it unveils it. When you are angry or sad or bitter, it is not because someone has failed to fill the function you allotted him. When you are angry, is it not because someone has failed to fill the function you allotted him? You wanted him to behave in a certain way. You wanted her to behave in a certain way. Your parents should have been that. Your mother should have been this. Your father, your siblings, your school friends, your varsity friends, your work colleagues, your spouse, your children. You expect them to be that. And then you're angry because they haven't fulfilled what you fantasize them to be. And does this not become the reason your attack is justified? Attack, your criticism, your critique, or your physical attack. The dreams you think you like are those in which the functions you have given have been fulfilled. The needs which you ascribe you are met. So the dreams you love are the dreams that have worked out according to your fantasy. It does not matter if they be fulfilled or merely wanted. It is the idea that they exist from which the fear arises. Dreams are not wanted more or less. They are desired or not. Do you still desire this dream of the world? And I know this is why so many students leave roundabout now. Because they go, oh, I'm going to lose the world. I'm going to lose the joy. I'm going to lose myself, little self. But I know enough now. I'm spiritual. I know I'm a spirit. Well, that's enough. That's all I need to know. And the minute they stop here, what happens? The world surfaces. And they see the error in the world again. And they go after, okay, but they're spiritual. So now they're going to go and fight against destructions of the forest fires, or destructions of the animals, become vegans or vegetarians or librarians or whatever. Now they're going to go and save something. Now they're going to find a cause. The minute you find a cause, you have an enemy. And slowly the ego creeps back. And they go, yeah, but this course didn't work. And they become the biggest critics of the course. They're the ones that call the course a cult. How can this be a cult? How's this a cult? Who pays me anything? What am I selling? Who have I asked to behave in a certain way or do anything? Yes, sometimes, of course, people get together and do groups and they do little seminars and get together, like-minded people. No difference to round table or a bunch of motorcyclists getting together. These ones get together and sing in circles and hold hands and stare into each other's faces and sing Kumbaya, and they're just the hippies of modern day. Where is a cult in any of this? What is a cult? Is it a culture? The word cult is derived from the word culture. What is this? These are people we're sharing. I'm sharing. What is it that I want from you? Nothing. Be thyself knowingly. Why do I do this? Because I remember what I am. The more I share this, the more I abide in the gentle joy of being, in the lightness of being. I love doing this because this is my service unto our self. And it gives me great joy to be able to share this. So are dreams desired or not? Choose wisely. What is it that you could possibly want that would come close to the infinite lightness of being? Being what? Being the extension, the bliss of God. And each one represents some function that you've assigned. That's what your life is. A series of ideas that you've assigned to self and others of what will be your perfect life. And what's it going to do but fail? Some goals which an event, a body, or a thing should represent and should achieve for you. If it succeeds, you think you like the dream. You say you have a good dream, a successful dream. And if it should fail, you think the dream is sad. But whether it succeeds or fails is not its core, but just a flimsy covering. And most people, 99.9, come to this course because the dream is sad. Because the ones whose dream is happy are out there living it up, filling their lives with busy, busy, busy. Because God forbid they should be still or left alone or left with their thoughts, because that demonic ego will just come rushing in and capture their imagination, and the sadness will rise. No one thinks while they're happy living their fantasy or happy abiding in stillness. And you've got a choice. See, the problem is that we want to hang on to the happy stuff and get rid of the negative stuff, the horrible stuff. They're both stuff in the dream. Stuff. I'm not going to call them anything else but stuff. No things. Nothing. You let them both go, and you abide in silent stillness and in gratitude, and you will be filled with what you hoped the dream would give you, what you hope would give you pleasure in order to feel joy. Why do you want pleasure? Because you believe that pleasure is joy. But if you had joy and it was all-encompassing, what pleasure would you seek when you are the effect of what you wanted joy for? How happy would your dreams become if you were not the one who gave the proper inverted commas, sarcastically, role to every figure in which the dream contains, No one can fail but your idea of him. And there is no betrayal but for this. So if you believe your brother is an A-type soul, then for you, your idea of him is true for you. And if you think your brother is wicked and sinful and this and that and this and that, they will be, because it's of your idea for him, and it'll become a self-fulfilling prophecy to you. They may be perfect in their own self, and everybody else may love them, but you will see in them the fault you have chosen to see in them. And if you've chosen to see it in your brother, it must be in you or in your lack of awareness. Because in your pure awareness, there's just light. The core of dreams the Holy Spirit gives, the memory of God gives, is never one of fear. The memory of God, Holy Spirit, only gives you dreams of what God is, love. The coverings may not appear to change, but what they mean has changed because they cover something else. Now, bearing in mind, God doesn't put obstacles in your way, but he'll allow the obstacle to be there. Why? Because you created it and he's given you free will. But all you need to do is call on his memory, his Holy Spirit, to help you awaken from what appears to be an obstacle. So God allows it to happen. Why? Because you created it and he gives you free will. Can you imagine he allowed you to create it but took some parts out? Can you imagine he allowed you to create the universe and then he took the moon away? Well, we would have tidal waves. He just leaves it to its own device. You've made it, you'll eventually put it down. Just like a kid who's hanging onto a teddy bear. At some stage, you turn 21 and you put your teddy bear down. Well, some people do. Okay. Perceptions are determined by their purpose. And what's their purpose for? Keeping you asleep. In that they seem to be what they are for. But perceptions aren't what they are for. They're only there to hide something. A shadow figure who attacks becomes a brother giving you a chance for help. So what appeared to be an enemy, you realize was many needs. And when you recognize it was all you, and you can forgive self, you forgive all yous, and it becomes a chance to help if this becomes the function of the dream. So what's your function for your dream? Is it to awaken? Or is it to stay asleep? What do you want your function to be? What do you want your dream to be for? And dreams of sadness are thus turned into joy. Wouldn't you want that rather? What is your brother for? What is your brother for? For you to control and for your brother to play out your fantasies? Or is your brother to be your mirror so that you may know what you are? You do not know because your function is obscure to you. And if you were to realize what is your function? To be the love of God. That's the only function you have. But while you're in this world, what is the love of God? Forgiveness. That's how it filters through. So do not ascribe roles to your brother that you imagine would bring happiness to you or pleasure or whatever. And do not try to hurt him when he fails to take the part that you assigned to him in what you dream your life was meant to be. And lots of people do that to the teacher too. So the teacher doesn't turn out to be exactly how the teacher wanted them to be. At first, they love what the teacher says until the teacher starts challenging their egoic self-image. And then all of a sudden, the teacher's no longer worthy of being listened to. He asks for help in every dream he has, as you do too. And you have help, and you have help to give him if you see the function of the dream as he perceives its function. Who can utilize all dreams as a means to serve the function given him? So, you see the function of the dream as you perceive its function. And what's the perception of the function? Who can utilize all dreams as a means to serve the function given him? And what should that function be? To keep you asleep, to keep you searching for fantasy, joy, plain, enlightenment, or to know thyself as the light, which is the extension of God. What function do you want to give this dream then? Because you, loves the dreamer, not the dream. Because what is the dreamer? The Son of God. And each dream becomes an offering of love. For what is the dreamer? Love. For at its center is his love for you, which lights whatever form it takes with love. So the Holy Spirit within your brother asks for help in every dream he has given you. And when he's given you the dream, so I'm reading it and now I'm twisting this a little, and you have help to give him. You see the function of the dream as he perceives the function of who can utilize all dreams as a means to serve the function given him. And what is that function? To help you awaken to self. Stop there.